All right, 1 year in. Had this thing going about 1 year. Speedometer broke, but by my estimation, I've got about 1,500 miles on it, maybe 1,700, and have thoroughly enjoyed it. I get a lot of questions about these seats. This is a Kirky drag, and then this is made by a place called Gasoline Trim Works out of the Auburn, Opelika area in Alabama. And he has the pattern for these and can make these. They look really good. Really do a good job of moving the needle on the vintage feel that I wanted for this car with the blue and the gumballs that aren't on here right now. Pretty typical Miata gauge cluster. I did some the old rings. They're a replica ring of, I don't know, so the wide rings that apparently have not been available for some time. And then just standard fare stuff from Rev Limiter with his vent rings and his gauge pods. But it all comes together. I think it looks nice. I probably will add a couple of things on the door panels at some point just to get a little more metal and a little less plastic. But don't need a whole lot more than this. The entertainment is in the noise this car makes. Paint has held up really well. Don't have any complaints on that. Of course, it lives inside most of the time. The 245s were a bear to fit with the wrong offset wheel, and I did a lot of trimming under here to get that to work. But it seems like it's doing great. I don't have any rubbing. I'm running 900-pound springs in the front and 450s in the back, I believe. And this has the BMW sway bar. The drop link has the drop section in the middle, so it clears the pulley. And I was able to get it at the right spot. Didn't have to modify the control arms. I did make different mounts for the sway bar so that I could shift it rearward to get that done, but I would rather modify the sway bar mount than add the tabs for the control arm, and it has worked great. The car's flat. I have not had it to barber. I've not had it on an autocross, but just tooling around in the thing, it has really worked good. So far, the cooling works. I haven't had any trouble out of the radiator. The car runs cooler with the hood because air can't get behind the radiator. So I see about a 3 to 5 degree difference. The Holly computer is reporting somewhere between 199 and 203 with the hood on, and it can go from 202 to 205 with the hood off when it's really hot outside. But either way, it's working. Hadn't had any trouble with that. I haven't leaned on it a lot. The car is still not tuned, but the sniper has continued to learn and has done an outstanding job making the car usable. I said that back when I built this thing. I think I made some posts on that. Can't say enough about how easy that was to get going once I had all this sorted, and this is made up nonsense. But once I got all the sensors going and everything working like it should as far as reporting the computer, it all just worked great. One thing I did and continue to have problems with, I don't know why, because I've had this same setup on multiple Miata and I've never had a problem with it, but my brakes are not my favorite. This one leaked. You got my new paint down in there. I don't know if that works there or not, but the fittings into the proportioning valve apparently were not quite tight enough, and it ate into the paint. I've got to spray that because everything else is still kind of clean. Don't like the braking, and I bought the canister to have an extra reserve of vacuum for the power brakes, but I think what I'm going to do is bite the bullet and just buy the Chase Bays manual master cylinder. It has a separate cylinder for rear and for front. I'm not sure about the balance. I don't think it has a solution for left or right, but the thing goes on there and you just get rid of the canister altogether. I know these stacks don't make a lot of vacuum, and I've just never had a Miata that didn't have good brakes, usable brakes. This one does stop, and it has excellent brakes sometimes, and then sometimes it doesn't at all. And there's no rhyme or reason. I have not tied that to RPM. I've not tied that to temp of the brakes. I know all about the different pad compounds and what have you. This is the same setup I've run on multiple track cars, and this does not behave anything like that. So it's probably the intake and probably related to the vacuum. I did buy tried the electric brake vacuum generator. It had the canister with the pump on it, and it thing would pull your thumb off. It did a good job at that, but it made no difference when I measured vacuum on this thing and drove it and saw what the engine was giving the canister versus what that pump would make. I was well in the range of that. So I don't know why that would be a problem, but something is. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There is a driveline vibration that I want to hunt. Car is silky smooth till about 70, and it's got some little bit of a harmonic that comes through the thing. I just really don't drive it much on the interstate. I don't go out in it that often at speed, so it hasn't mattered. It is far too loud. I just have the 2-chamber Flowmasters right at the rear, and have enjoyed listening to it, but the thing is overpowering, particularly when I have the roof on. And while I like the shock and awe factor, I'm probably going to put some type of not another chambered muffler, but a packed muffler. I've got a MagnaFlow that does the X that I think I'm going to try to fit up in the middle. It will just fit. I've held it up under there, and by my eye, I think I can get that and then weld up what's needed to get it back out to these at the rear. And then if it still has the drone to it, I'm probably going to try to do the 25-inch Heimholtz thing that gets rid of the drone, because I have driven the car to work, which is about a 20-mile one-way trip, and it's okay in the morning, but coming home in the afternoon and fighting with traffic with that noise, it's really not a lot of fun to just try to use as a car. Let's see what else. Yeah, it's bird poop. I need to wash it. That was a near miss at speed. I don't think there's anything else. All of it's holding up. So far, I don't have any visible cracking or failures from the fiberglass. I was careful when I installed it to not have anything in tension, being pulled on or pushed on. And so everything's hanging in a comfortable position. I leave it outside so I can get the full thermal thing. When I'm going to be around the house working, I'll put it out in the sun and let it bake. And of course, it's been doing this for a year, and so far so good. It's held up really well, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it.